Hey guys, it's the Tin Man here. Ian Armstrong. A guy with pretty out there claims, but true from my heart 100%, as true as my children are, as true as my parents were and are, and as people are, and as real as we are all just walking around. We're all in the same world. We all have cars and houses and dogs, and we do this stuff, and we go to work, and we all understand. Even in China they do that, even in Saudi Arabia they do that. We're all pretty much the same, but we just live in different areas. And so our cultures are different and so on and so forth. So sometimes people start to say that's a difference in world cultures and so on and so forth, right? You know, a woman to a man, it really is two huge significant differences. We can kind of relate on the difference, the opposites of the sex and stuff, because we're companions. We're here on this planet. We're together here today and yesterday and hopefully tomorrow. You know, there's people out there who get to be prophets, that get to have some kind of wisdom from God, from, you know, the different titles that people refer to as an energy of all, the energy that we all kind of came from in a way, and kind of maybe even work off of in a way, and so on and so forth. It's described in many different ways. Lately, in this new terminology, I think, is the universe. I think a lot of people just refer to it and try to just keep it open as this energy. And that myself, I do the same thing to some extent. I just keep it open is what I'm saying. But my go-to word would be God. God has never, in all my teachings, all my learnings, God was never something that I could really imagine or picture, or anything I could understand through my ways of understanding as a human. Pretty much is how it was taught to me, and that's how I stand by it. So anyways, there's the people who we refer to as like the prophets of God. The people who really got highly connected, got a lot of information and so on and so forth. I in no way am proclaiming to be one of those kind of people. The information that I get is readable. I'm going to show you some stuff right here that is very drastic and continuing to worsen. And I want our minds to really try to get into the understanding of it. But I read the language, and this grass here has a language. If you watch it, you can see what it needs. What we think is weeds over here and just wild brush and stuff, we could watch it and decide what we think it needs, along with the trees. We listen to the operation of our cars and our boats, and we hear the language from that to give or to be content with it, or to make a complaint because it's too late at night, or different things like this. We got language completely around us all the time. And this is part of how I survived in a way, because I wasn't a good student. It wasn't that I was just a dummy. I wasn't a good student. While we're sitting around the table there and trying to do what we're supposed to do, my mind was probably outside most of the time, still playing and stuff. And what was I doing? I was exploring all the languages. I was understanding how to survive out there all the time and stuff. So open yourself up to the kind of, if that makes sense to you, like I said it to my niece one time. You know, she's probably a 35-year-old woman now. Back when she was probably about 25, she had this beautiful dog, one of those Chinese dogs that looks like the lion. He was just awesome. Very content, and just, he was just, you couldn't tell. He's kind of like a pit bull, where you couldn't tell what he was really thinking by just looking at him. Like me as a stranger to the dog. But anyway, so one time I was over there hanging around for a number of hours. I think for maybe even a day or two. And I watched the dog quite a bit. And finally I said to my niece, I said, you know what, Beth? I think if you were to leave a door open on your house somewhere, just where the dog can make it up and he can breathe in the outside air, I believe he's going to be a lot more content, a lot more happy, because I could tell that the dog was always just wanting to know the protection of the house and his master, my niece, and so on and so forth. Sometime later, like I think even maybe a year or two later, she brought that up, and you could tell she was happy to hear that information and being able to give that to her dog, actually. And that's all it was. And she showed her appreciation in kind ways, and I felt really good, and I felt like I can do that again for her because of those good feelings we're passing back and forth. So start wising up, and I hope the video is still running, man. And I think I will just continue adding on to the end of this one. Good. And I have 4 minutes left, so let's do this. So what we're looking at right here is we're looking at a big additional piece of concrete that is very special concrete, okay? It's specialized. Like, get in there. Let me do a little zoomy. Anybody who knows concrete, that's specialized stuff. Here's unspecialized, just our regular type concrete. Zoink. And the specialized stuff. Now you see what's going on there, don't you? It's getting worse. Slow process, but they are working on it. Another thing, because I find it in this, if you see patchiness and all this weirdness and so on and so forth, sometimes extra whatever just painted down or whatever splashed around and stuff, those are cover-ups in a way. Not our human cover-ups I'm talking about. Our human cover-ups can show well patterns. They don't really, they would, if they had a can of paint and they wanted to cover up something there, it wouldn't look as well as that kind of does, that square or that square, and so on and so forth. They don't get quite into finishing patterns. In some cases, yes. But anyways, we get to see one of their very happy to do vertical splits. And what you get to see, I haven't really showed it, but what you get to see in some of these is you get to, here, let me just show this one right here so you know for sure. What you get to see right here is their actual taking pieces out. And if we got in there and examined that, you would be able to see little swipes of what you might think is a tool at first. And then as you study, you'll start to see at different points where it drags past, and you'd get to see the fineness in that tool and different patterns. Sometimes you'll come to these and you'll realize, hey, that's not the original patch job that was there. I wonder why. And it's because of that thing I've been saying for a long time. We figured it out a while back there. But they do and will take the old concrete that they've broken down and they'll put it back as a filler. And why would that be? Why would that be? It's because even on our dam systems and stuff that we got going on up in this valley, we got a number of dams all up there. It's the same thing. They're doing the exact same weakening processes on them, and it's covering everything. So when they will be able to be successful and make it catastrophe, that's a big aiming. It will be catastrophe if they do anything to discredit this enough to break down and completely fall apart. There's no doubt in our minds. So out here in our country, we get to have a lot of engineers and a lot of money still to these days. I've talked about even that. I'll try to pin this video with it, and this will be a specific one right there that will be interesting to look at, I think, because that's on the old memory. My time's up. Don't forget to just share the conversation.